Hello, this is Political Forum for Wednesday, May 7th, 2014. We welcome today as our guest Alderman Arena from the 45th Ward. Thank you for appearing on our Political Forum show today, Alderman.
Thanks, Freddie. Glad to be here.
I am Freddie Calixto. I'm a board member here at CAN TV. This is a live, interactive program brought to you by CAN TV as a service to the community. We welcome your questions and comments for the Alderman. Please call us at 312-738-1060. During the next 25 minutes, we will try to get as many questions to you, as many calls as we can as possible while we're on the air. So we're going to begin by talking about what's going on in the 45th Ward. Alderman, tell us a little bit about what's happening in the 45th Ward.
Well, right now we're going through a process called participatory budgeting. I've got my I voted button on today, and that's a process where the constituents get to vote on how infrastructure money is spent in their community. It can go to support everything from planting trees to building new parks in the ward to helping schools to getting streets repaved.
And how many people in your ward participate in this process?
Well, this is the second year we've done it, and the first year we had about 650 people vote. This year our goal is to get that over 1,000. And we've had 2 mobile voting sessions so far, where we've gone actually 2 into the community and brought the voting apparatus with us. And we have voting going on in my ward office at 4754 North Milwaukee throughout this entire week. And on Saturday, we'll be at Wilson Park at our Eco Fair, where we'll have shredding and recycling and 18 vendors dealing with environmental issues, and we'll have our mobile voting there again.
Great. Well, it sounds like the members of the 45th Ward are active participants in your process.
Yeah, we're very proud of that.
Great. There were some issues that are more current right now at City Council. You want to talk a little bit about that, the pension and the property tax increase? That's pretty hot topics.
It is. The mayor has come up with a solution to some, and in his words, a solution to some of the pension issues that we have for the municipal pensions. But it's going to require, his proposal requires a property tax increase. We know this is a big problem that is being addressed at every level of government. The concern that me and some of the folks on the city council have we looked at other ideas to generate revenue besides going to the property tax increase? And we have brought ideas to the table. Just today, Karen Lewis had 2 proposals to look at a financial transaction tax, and another proposal that both of those the mayor has said, well, they won't work. And as a caucus, we've brought some ideas to the table: a city income tax, commuter taxes, other things that would hit a broader range of users in the city. Some people that don't live in the city, that don't pay taxes here in the city and use taxes like we do, that get the benefit of our property taxes. We think we can go to a broader range of users in the city to get this money in, instead of pushing it all onto the property tax bills of middle-class families and lower-income families. So the concern is that the mayor has asked for new ideas, but every new idea that's been put in front of him, he says that won't work. And when you say you want new ideas, as long as their property tax increases, that doesn't sit well with some of us on the city council.
So I'm imagining that there's a lot of discussion going on at the council regarding these topics.
Yep.
And how does a property tax increase fit into that?
Well, that's the mechanism the mayor wants to use to generate $750 million over the next 5 years, and then sustain that level of increase for 35 more years afterwards. So it would be a $50 million increase each year for the next 5 years, starting in 2015. And that's a substantial amount of money. In an average house in the 45th Ward, which goes for between $250,000 to $350,000, would probably see about a $75 to $100 increase in their property taxes just this year alone, and that would continue to ramp up at that level each year for 5 years. So it's a big concern to folks that are on fixed incomes. It's a big concern to average families that are struggling to get by, having seen their real wages stay flat over the last 20, 30 years. we really have to look at other solutions besides keep going to the property tax increase as the way to fix these financial issues. And I think nobody says you can't use property taxes to help with this, but looking at it as 50% of the solution or 100% of the solution, we need to look at some of these other ideas that are more equitable and start addressing some of the higher income earners and seeing if they could participate in the solution.
Great. Thank you, Alderman. We have a caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Yes, good evening. To follow up on the pension, I know that it seems like what is going on is that it's affecting the many for the benefit of the few in terms of the property tax. Looks like all of us are paying for something that not a lot of people are getting the benefit of. So you just talked about some other ways besides the property tax. Higher income people, like taxing them more. What are some ideas that you may have besides property tax for everyone?
Well, one of them is a municipal income tax that's a graduated income tax, similar to what you see at the federal level. There was a movement to do this at the state level as well, which would generate, billions of dollars in revenue for the state and be more equitable in how it's applied as opposed to a flat tax. And that's the problem with property taxes. It is basically a flat tax. Everybody pays this amount based on the value of their house. If you're lower income, these increases are really starting to eat into the money you use to just operate your family and your household. So, a city income tax, commuter taxes, things that tax people who come in. Our city, our population in Chicago swells by about 1 million people every day for folks who come in from the suburbs, use our infrastructure, take advantage of our police, fire, sometimes take advantage of our schools, and they're not paying any taxes into our coffers to help offset those costs. Those are some of the things that are out there. There's the caucus is right now putting together a package of ideas that we think are viable and that need to be vetted out before we, again, go back to the property tax increase as the only way to solve this. And I think the other thing that you mentioned, the few, the reality is we're dealing with right now about 60,000. This concept that the mayor's put out there covers about 60,000 municipal workers and some CTU workers that are administrative. The what's still out there are the police, fire, and the teachers' pensions, which are huge liabilities that we have to address. So if this were a more comprehensive solution that included multiple forms of revenue that might include property taxes, but we had a real picture of how we were solving the whole problem as opposed to taking a piece and then we still have this open question of how do we deal with the firefighters, the police, and our teachers. It might be an easier conversation, but I'm very concerned that we don't have an idea of how this administration is going to address those liabilities.
Well, thank you, caller. That was a great question. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, gentlemen. Wanted to ask the Alderman if we could get a status on the Portage Theatre and just what's been going on with that.
That's a great question. It's currently owned by a gentleman named Eddie Carranza, who is the owner of the Congress Theater, which has been closed because of issues with his liquor license and his control of that. He's currently trying to sell that property, and if that sale goes through, then he might bring some of that revenue up north and invest it into the Portage Theatre. Obviously, my goal would be have the theater open and operating. It is a valuable venue. It's a landmark in our ward and on the northwest side. But any venue of that size, the theater holds about 1,300 people, has to have responsible ownership that's accountable for his actions. And Mr. Carranza, by losing his liquor license at the Congress, has shown that he's not that guy. He has the right to own the land, but he has to operate it responsibly. What we're looking for is a partner that can be that responsible operator and that the community can have assurances that will be accountable to them and run that property responsibly. The great news is that on that stretch of Milwaukee, every other property is now becoming active. We have restaurants, we have yogurt shops, salons, National Veterans Art Museum, Filament Theater, all have come onto that stretch of Milwaukee, and Six Corners is really seeing a renaissance and a revitalization over the last 3 years. So we hope that as an owner, Mr. Carranza will partner with a responsible party, and we can get that venue back online and getting great shows in there again.
Great. Hey, thank you, caller. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, are there going to be any upcoming arts events or live music events coming this summer?
That's a great question. We were
Yes.
just talking about Six Corners, and we have the Six Corners Barbecue Fest coming up Father's Day weekend. That's the 14th and 15th of June. And we have Jeff Park Arts and Music Festival coming up on July 25th through 27th. All of those are going to be great family-friendly events. And we're really looking forward to seeing the community come out and support our local businesses. We have Gale Street Inn, which is a fixture on the northwest side for its ribs, is going to be at Jeff Fest. We have some great music acts, and we're going to be making some announcements on the lineups for both of those in the coming weeks.
Great. How long have these festivals been in place?
So the Six Corners Barbecue Fest is going on its 4th year. And Jeff Fest has actually been going on for well over, I think it's in its 14th year now. But this is the 3rd year that we're actually doing it in Jefferson Memorial Park. So it's a great opportunity to come and spread a blanket out or a lawn chair and really enjoy some music in a great setting in the city of Chicago.
Great. Thank you, caller. Well, we actually have another caller on the line, so let's take
Great.
another call. Caller, what is your
Good
question?
evening to y'all. I want to, you know about the speed cameras, right?
The speed cameras?
Yeah.
In the 45th Ward, we have a couple of locations.
Okay. Why Roger May ain't pressing charges about his people ain't pressing charges when they speed the red light? Y'all doing a good job.
Okay, thank you, caller.
The report about Mayor Emanuel.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those things that we never want to see a representative, an elected official, not being treated the same way we are treated. When I get a ticket in the city of Chicago, I pay my tickets. His drivers should be instructed to follow the rules of the road like the rest of us. So that is concerning, and we hope that, I think the mayor has said he's going to be a little closer a leash on those guys and make sure that they follow the rules. But it is the kind of thing that we want to make sure the mayor should be setting that example. He's the one that implemented these policies to protect our kids and keep speeds down. He needs to set that example when he drives around the city.
Okay, thank you for that question, caller. There's another issue that's come up in City Council, and it's about the rideshare program.
Yep.
And a lot of people are talking about it. It's in the news. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Sure. So ride sharing is, there's a couple of companies that do it. One called Lyft, Sidecar, and Uber. And UberX is the version of that where you get a privately owned car that you use a phone app or iPhone app or Android app to order a car to come pick you up wherever you are and drop you off at a location. Very similar to what you would find with a taxi cab. The difference is these companies have been operating outside of any legal structure or regulatory structure for years now, and we're just getting around to regulating this industry. And they have a very powerful lobby that's pushed the mayor to introduce an ordinance that I feel comes far below the standard of consumer protections that we should be looking for. The truth is, cabs have an enormous amount of insurance coverage on them. They have inspections on those vehicles. The drivers have to be certified with chauffeur's license. We make sure they're drug-free and that they're accountable if they do not provide quality service in our city. And this is important for all of us transporting ourselves around the city, as well as for tourists coming to the city. And the reality is, if you get into one of these cars right now, the insurance coverage that they have is basically personal insurance, just like you would have on your vehicle. And all of those policies do not cover you if you are acting as a commercial agent. So you're taking a lot of a risk using those right now. The mayor's ordinance does not have a high enough level of consumer protections that I would like to see, and many of us on the council would like to see. and right now, what you can do as a voter and as a concerned citizen is you can call your state senator. There's a bill in the state Senate that is going to that would regulate these. At the last city council, we pushed off a vote on the mayor's ordinance for 2 months to allow for the state to come up with stronger protections that cover us as consumers in a more equitable way. And right now, your state senator is taking these things under consideration. You should reach out to them and voice your concerns for strong consumer protections in this area.
Great. Well, thank you for that update on that very important topic. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Alderman, I hope you really could explain this, all right? It seems like we are moving towards a way in this city where we have separate for equal. Is the people on the north side lives more important than people on the south side? They're getting ready to build this new Barack Obama school. They're going to call $60 million out of TIF fund, but yet there's no trauma centers on the south side of Chicago. When you be hearing about people getting shot and when minutes counts, how can they really justify that? And we got citizens, like I said, that are dying on the south side of Chicago because they don't have a trauma center, but they want to spend $60 million of TIP funds. Could you please explain that?
Well, this is an initiative of the mayor's office, and it's one of the reasons why I've called for the creation of an elected school board, because these kinds of decisions, and especially with where we build schools and where we put selective enrollment and where we're putting our capital dollars, is 70% higher on the north side than the south side. And that level of inequity is not, it's just not fair. And in a great city like ours, where we want everybody to have equal access to great education, and in your case, and the point that you make about access to great health care, we need to be more equitable in how we spend those TIF dollars. I think it's very ironic that we would put a selective enrollment school for the top students on the north side of Chicago, named after our president, who started out his political career on the south side of Chicago. So that's one thing that I think we need to rethink. And the use of TIF dollars, like I said, has gone predominantly to north side schools and north side investment. We need to be much more equitable about the use of TIF dollars. Myself and my friends on the Progressive Reform Caucus have called for surplusing of that money so that it can be distributed outside of the TIF boundaries, because there are restrictions on the locations of where you can spend that money. That would free that money up to be moved and portable to the areas of highest need. And we know, as we've seen, we haven't even gotten into the warm months and the warm weather, and we've seen 20, 30 shootings a weekend, and predominantly those are happening on the south side. So we need to step up our police protection there, our access to health care, and access to quality education.
Thank you, caller. Great question. Let me put this up. This is the information for the office and the phone number if you want to reach the alderman. And the map is pretty small, but this is the new map. Can you tell us more or less the boundaries?
Yeah, so this is the new remap, the ward remap, how the ward is going to be in 2015. On the east side, it goes to Central Park Avenue, on the south to Addison, on the west to Nagel, and on the north to Peterson. It's some great neighborhoods. It includes Portage Park, Jefferson Park, Gladstone Park, Old Irving Park, and Independence Park.
Great, thank you, Alderman. So again, the number is 312-738-1060. Give us a call, please. And we have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your question?
All right, this question is kind of related to the talk about Uber before. I know there's some other businesses that are kind of breaking traditional business models, like with Airbnb and stuff like that, where it's how people can operate sort of similar to hotels. Are there any plans to start regulating things like that as well?
Nothing has come forward on that to the city council yet. I know it's been discussed. I think that there are some lawsuits at higher level of government that are stopping those things from moving forward, because again, a lot of it revolves around liability issues and consumer protections. I couldn't speak to what those issues look like in the city right now, just because I haven't had a chance to prep on that. But it is something we always, whenever we look at these new industries, we want to make sure that there's an opportunity for those kind of things to flourish in our city. but we also have to be careful about how we're protected as consumers. And that's really the role of the city council and the city government, is to make sure that you have that opportunity to develop new business models, but that we're doing it in a responsible way.
Great. Thank you, caller, for that question. You're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV, and I'm Freddie Calixto, a board member here at CAN TV. This is live interactive show. If you have any questions, please call 312-738-1060. Thank you for your calls. Alderman, any other issues on that we can talk about? What about the CPS capital plans that are improving some of your schools?
That's great. We're really excited that in the latest capital plan, the 5-year plan that they put out last Friday or Monday morning, we heard about it, that 2 schools in the 45th Ward that are severely overcrowded, one being Hitch Elementary and one Prussing Elementary. Both of those are in Hitch is in Gladstone Park and Prussing is in Jefferson Park. Both have been operating, busting at the seams, and we've been advocating for mobile units to be added to allow for more students to be more comfortable settings in how they're taught. And both of those are getting those mobile units starting with the 2015 school year. So we're very excited about that, and I'm really appreciative of the community voice that has helped make that happen. We've been advocating very strongly for that. And in the case of Hitch, I want to mention Deborah Reese, who is the longtime principal of Hitch School, who we lost to cancer recently. And she was a fierce advocate for her school, for her community, and for this particular improvement for her school. So we really appreciate CPS making the right move on that.
Thank you, Alderman. We have another caller. Your question, please.
Hi, I just wanted to touch base on the Barack Obama School. I hear that it's going to be placed where a park is currently, and I just wanted to know why would the city displace a park? You know, green space is important to the community, and I think that we should be adding green space and not taking away from it.
I can't speak to the specific plan here. I do know that it is planned for park space, and I can't agree with you more. I think in general the location needs to be rethought. It's just not the right place for that school with that name. The north side has the majority of the selective enrollment schools in the CPS system right now, and we need to be more equitable with how we distribute those highly sought after seats. You know, right now we have kids that are traveling from the south side all the way to the north side to go to Northside Prep or Whitney Young or Lane Tech. And that's valuable time that they could be spending with their family, doing homework, not on the bus or on the train. And we need to be more equitable about that. And when we talk about green space, I've been in meetings with folks from the Park District who have said, look, don't take more of our green space away for schools. That's valuable land in a city that has so much asphalt and so much traffic that we need to maintain and really protect the green space that we already have.
Great. Thank you for that question, caller. Alderman, we're running out of time here, but let's see. There's a brochure for the Chicago Northwest Corridor. Do you want to talk a little bit about that before we?
Yeah, that's an initiative of my office where we put together. What we realized was we have some great offerings on the Northwest side. Obviously, we've struggled from an economic development standpoint, but what we do have is some great restaurants like the Gale Street Inn, the Portage, Bread and Wine. There's new ones opening every day, and we have great entertainment options like the Copernicus Theater, the Portage Theater, Patio Theater. And what we needed to do was aggregate that in one place to tell people, you know, this is what's going on in the Northwest Corridor on Milwaukee Avenue. This brochure, which is available on our website and as well as at local retailers in the 45th Ward, really kind of puts together all of the great things that we have to offer. So we're very excited about partnering with our local chambers of commerce on that. And if I can, I would like to mention one event that we have coming up, which is a night for veterans at the National Veterans Art Museum at 4041 North Milwaukee. That's coming up on May 30th, and it's an event obviously at the Veterans Art Museum. It's to honor veterans and to help create more connections between the community and the vets that have served us so passionately.
Great. Thank you, Alderman, and thank you, callers, for your great questions. Our time is running out. I'd like to thank Sheila or Sylvia, I'm sorry, for helping us out, for taking the calls. We hope to see you again next Wednesday here at CAN TV for Political Forum, and we'll see you. Bye.
Thank you.